The desert wind howled through the broken boards of the old saloon in Calico Bluff, a tired mining town crumbling under its own weight. The streets were bone-dry and sun-bleached, scattered with tumbleweeds and the whispers of broken promises. In the shadow of the Red Ridge Mountains, this place stood like a wound that never quite healed. Clara Bennett, 22 and proud despite the dust on her hem and scars on her soul, stood with trembling hands outside the Gold Spur Inn. Her uncle, Rufus Clay, a sharp-jawed, whisker-soaked man, had just declared she was to be auctioned off to pay his debts from a failed silver mining venture. Her parents had died in a rock slide back east. Her mother's brother had taken her in, promising care. What he offered instead was chains. Rufus's voice cut through the square like a whip. She's strong, knows how to cook and clean. Ain't no dainty rose. Starting bid, $500. Laughter and murmurs filled the square. Clara didn't flinch. She wouldn't give them the satisfaction. Her green eyes stayed fixed on the date, and her fists stayed clenched at her sides. She'd run once, months ago, but the desert was cruel, and her feet had bled until Rufus found her collapsed near Dead Horse Creek. But someone in the crowd wasn't laughing. Beau McCallister, a man whose presence rode in on the wind like thunder, leaned against his dark chestnut stallion, Whiskey. Tall, broad-shouldered, with a faded brown duster and eyes like prairie dusk, he'd seen the world from behind a rifle barrel, and he was tired of blood. An ex-bounty hunter, he'd come to Calico Bluff to buy land and grow peach trees, if such things were possible for men with regrets. When his eyes met Clara's, something old and aching stirred in his chest. She wasn't begging. She wasn't crying. She looked like freedom caged in skin. Chapter 2. A bid paid in fire and salt. 500, Rufus bellowed. Do I hear 550? A wiry merchant raised his hand. 600, a voice boomed. All eyes turned. Beau stepped forward, pulling a leather pouch from his stool bag. The gold clinked softly, deadly. Rufus squinted. Who the hell are you? Just a man with a clean conscience and a full purse, Beau said. 700. Clara dared to look up. Their eyes locked again. She didn't know what to feel. Fear? Hope? More likely, a mix of both. 800, spat the merchant, now red-faced. Beau's voice didn't rise, but it struck like a hammer. 1,000. The crowd gasped. Rufus sneered. She's not worth. She's worth whatever I say, Beau said coldly, tossing the pouch onto the steps. Unless you want to call off the sale. But then you'd still owe your debt, wouldn't you? Rufus hesitated. He saw the Colt holstered at Beau's side, saw the steadiness of the man. He spat to the side and waved his hand. Sold. The crowd slowly dispersed. Clara remained rooted in place, uncertain. You're free now, Beau said gently. She blinked. What? I don't want a servant or a wife bought with gold. I just didn't want to watch a soul get sold like livestock. You spent $1,000 on me, she said slowly. Why? Because I've spent more on bullets, and none of them ever gave me peace. Chapter 3. Thunder behind them, peace ahead. Beau led Clara to his small camp just outside town. She rode Whiskey, and he walked beside her. I'll find a place for you, he said. Somewhere far from Rufus. Maybe the widow at Lone Ridge. She takes in women. Or you could go east, start over. Clara tilted her head. And what will you do? He hesitated. Try to forget the faces of the men I hunted. Maybe plant peach trees. She laughed. A short, bright sound. In this desert. I hear with enough water, anything can grow. She looked at him then, really looked, and saw a man scarred, but not broken. At camp, he cooked beans and cornbread. She helped, silent but grateful. As night fell and stars blinked into view, Clara sat beside the fire with her hands wrapped around a tin cup. My uncle won't let me go, she said softly. Not really. He'll come after us. Beau's jaw tightened. Then let him try. Chapter 4. Blood in the Dust. 3 nights later, trouble rode in under moonlight. Rufus, 3 of his men, and the bitter-eyed merchant, all on horseback, found their camp. Clara and Beau had just finished breakfast when the first bullet tore through the coffee pot. Thought you could steal my girl and ride off into the dust, huh? Rufus bellowed. Beau had drawn his gun before the echo faded. He pulled Clara behind a rock and returned fire. It wasn't a long shootout, but it was loud, messy, and full of fury. Rufus caught one in the leg and screamed like a branded calf. His men scattered. The merchant rode off without firing a shot. Beau approached Rufus slowly. You come near her again, I'll put the next one between your eyes. Rufus snarled through gritted teeth. She's mine. Clara stepped forward then, eyes blazing. I was never yours. I never will be. And if you ever say my name again, I'll haunt your breath till your last. Beau looked at her with admiration. Rufus, bleeding and humiliated, was left tied to his saddle and slapped on the rear of his horse, sent back to town with a message. Chapter 5. The Planting Season. They stayed in the hills for a while. Clara learned to shoot, learned to cook with prairie herbs, and learned to laugh again. Beau didn't rush her. He didn't ask anything of her. But sometimes he caught her watching him when she thought he wasn't looking. One morning, she woke to find him digging a trench beside their camp. What are you doing? She asked. He glanced up. I sent east for seeds. Figured I'd try my luck. She knelt beside him, took the second shovel. Then I'll help. Their hands brushed once. Both paused. And then they dug side by side. Chapter 6. A home built from silence and storms. Months passed. They built a cabin with wood from the mountain forest. Beau carved her a rocking chair. Clara sewed curtains from scraps of old dresses. Sometimes they would ride to Calico Bluff for supplies, and whispers followed them. No one dared challenge the man who took down Rufus Clay. One evening, under a sky dripping with pink and gold, Beau stood beside her on the porch. He cleared his throat. I was thinking, he said, if you ever wanted to stay. Not because of debt or duty, just because it feels right. Clara didn't speak. She turned to him and placed a hand on his chest. Her voice was soft but steady. I never knew a man could give me freedom and ask for nothing. But you did. And if I stay, it's because I choose you, Beau McCallister. He kissed her then, gentle as rain on desert dust. Epilogue. Bloom in the dust. A year later, Calico Bluff had changed. Rufus had left town, swallowed by his own shame. The Gold Spur had new owners. And on the edge of town, peach trees grew, small but stubborn, roots deep in desert soil. At the McCallister homestead, Clara rocked gently in the chair Beau made, humming a tune her mother once sang. A cradle sat beside her, holding a sleeping baby girl. Beau approached with dust on his boots and sun in his smile. He sat beside her, kissed her temple, and took her hand. They didn't need to speak. Their silence was full of everything they had built, love, redemption, loyalty, and dreams no longer chained to debts or pasts. Beneath the peach blossoms in the wide western sky, they had found what many searched for but few ever claimed. A home, a future, a freedom paid in love.